buddy. Is that too loud? Sweet. Thanks again, guys, for coming to this Lupercalia edition of the Satanic Chef. I really appreciate you guys coming. It's pretty fucking cool. Uh, so, I missed you guys a lot. I missed doing this a lot. So, how's everybody been? Well, there's some things you need to know. We're celebrating Lupercalia for the next 5 days, which was a religion that was around 484 BC, like before that dude called himself Christ. And it was around then that people would like wear wolf skins and they'd run around and they'd be drinking milk and they'd be butt naked, screaming through the streets, and that's a celebration. And they'd just be going crazy. And what ended up happening was is that you had this really cool like thing that was happening. It was like a big festival. Like Julius Caesar was like really into it at the time. But we have taken it from the Satanic Temple standpoint, where we are celebrating our bodily anatomy, wolves, and we're going to do some, and we have our own wolf, which happens to be Jack. So it should be really cool. I'm going to teach you guys some things. I'm going to teach you guys how to make some basic skills tonight. So let's get started. That's better. Now I can see everybody. Before I could not. So let's just get rid of this thing. Probably belongs on the floor somewhere. So one of the things that I love doing, since I'm a chef, is making garlic confit. And it's a staple in what I like to cook. So confiting something means to cook something in fat. And I have here, a garlic clove. And the easiest way to get these all out is obviously take it, smash it, get them all out, put them in two bowls, and then shake them up really nice. After you're done shaking them, they'll start to loosen, and they'll start to look like this. So what I like to do, since I'm a maniac, I like to take a pot, and I like to bring out my garlic in some olive oil. So we're just going to fill up this pot. You know what? Give me 1 second. There we go. So now you guys can see what I'm cooking. Finally, I have two cameras running at the same time. So I have here my garlic, I have here my oil, and I have my garlic covered in my oil. And what I like to do is, I like to take my garlic confit. Let's just switch places over here, shall we? I like to bring this to a simmer, and I like to simmer this for about 5 to 10 minutes. And what that does is it cooks it slowly all the way through. And it will become mashable, and then you can use it. Isn't it trippy? It's my first time fucking with this. I knew it would blow everybody's minds. Also, my webcam died about 30 minutes before 6 o'clock, so I had to go get a new one. It's been a crazy day. So while that heats up, I'm going to burn a little bit of Bible. Get that nice and smoky, get that smoky flavor in there. Just really get it going. Just, someplace over here. So while that heats up, I'm going to teach you guys something else. So we're going to learn some knife skills today. One of the things I like to do is I like to do large dice, medium dice, and small dice. So this happens to be a carrot. I'm going to take the carrot. Let's pretend this is peeled. So when you cut carrots, and you want to make them even, cut them in half. Don't try and do this thing where you're like trying to cut the whole carrot down, because then you're going to cut your finger off, and it's going to be gross. You're going to have to go to the hospital and explain what happened. It's just not going to be a fun experience for anybody. So to do a large dice, I like to take the biggest part of the carrot. Just even it out. Cut it. So it's about 1 inch in diameter and width. When I go to do the small dice, medium dice, I'm sorry, simply just rounding these corners off. I'm just going down a little bit more. And then that would be your small dice right here. So you got small dice, medium dice, large dice. That way, if I instruct you guys to do something like make a salad, but I want all the vegetables large dice, you'll know how to cut them like this. If you want to make something like a pasta sauce, say medium dice, you're going to be cutting them like this. Small dice would be like this. If you want to cut something brunoise, well, then I will show you. So brunoise means really like fine. So I like to cut some strips.
Oh, I don't know that.
That was weird. And then I go over it. And you would obviously want to do something like cut a shallot or something fine that's got a ton of flavor in it in brunoise. I've seen people do this for like texture with carrots and like with celery. Honestly, it's like a waste of time. Like that's the old school French technique that you would learn if you were working in like a hardcore vacation where you didn't say anything. And now that we've gotten our dices out of the way, I can teach you guys how to slice herbs correctly. So we're just going to take our stuff and kind of put it up here so you guys can see it. Now get rid of this. One chef taught me a clean kitchen is always a happy kitchen. And that guy was a piece of shit, and I don't like it. But he's right. A clean kitchen is a happy kitchen. There was also a scandal where he ended up getting a dick pic while I was at work from my phone, and because I didn't like him, and I came home and I showed the text message exchange to Lucian, and he said, "Well, just send him this message. I've seen the pucker," and he got so mad. The guy just flipped out. I mean, he was an asshole, and he still is. So to cut herbs, you probably want to just go back. You don't want to go down on your stuff because that's how you bruise your herbs. Pretend this is like a nice bud of weed. Like you do not want to fuck it up. What I like to do with herbs is just back slice things. And this is what we call chiffonade. So I'm just going back on my knife, using the bridge of my knife, which is right here. And I'm just cutting backwards and rocking forward and rocking back. You don't want to do that too much because that will dull your blade if you go back and forth. So it's best to not do that. Just lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up, lift up. It's also important to sharpen your knives. Always sharpen your knives because a dull knife will go right through your hand. Summer took a shower, everybody. Just going to put our herbs into one corner. And we'll use this for something else. Now with leaf herbs, since this was like an alum, a scallion, hold on. So this is mint. So mint leaves are very delicate, and this is something you definitely want to be able to do a back slice on, especially if you're going to be putting them in things like salads, because it will turn black, and then people will have like minty, like dark, gross leaf in there, and they're not going to eat it. Everybody will hate you at the potluck. So that's something to keep in mind. Very good in tea. Sorry about that, guys. So now that you guys can see my hands, what I like to do with leafy herbs is just simply stack them up. Stack them up like Bible pages. And no, you don't have to burn these. If it was weed, I would say go right ahead and burn it. So now that you guys can see my hands, we're just going to go backwards, just like we did before. You go chiffonade this. They won't be black. And if you're going to be cutting something like, let's say, parsley, you guys have seen like the chefs like going to town on parsley and mincing it up. You don't have to do that because that is such a waste of time. Take your parsley, and even with like some of the stems on it, just go right through it with your knife. It's not going to hurt it. Just go do some back slices, and if you want, go back over it again. That's the easiest way to do that. As you can see, like I'll put a little bit of light on. See? Definitely just throw that right in the salad. Our garlic is about cooked. It's been simmering in there. So it's soft. So I'm going to turn it off. Let that sit, cool down in the oil. That's really annoying, by the way. Clean up my cutting board. I'm going to push that all into one corner. So one of the things I want to teach you is how to julienne something. So here's an onion. It's a large Spanish onion. The correct way to really peel an onion is just cut the root tip off. Not the root tip, the stem. Take your knife, go around it. I'm new to this thing, guys. And just sort of peel it off. Try not to get too much of that meat off, because this is money right here. And there's no use for this unless you're making a stock. You can throw that in a stock, but for now we're just going to put that in the sink. Damn straight I don't give a fuck. I like to cut it right in half. Kind of even everything out. I would definitely save that for stock. There's a couple things you can do with an onion. Now, I've seen so many videos on different ways of people doing this, and the correct way that I was taught was really just that each onion has like a different layer to it, but you can help it, you know. Yes, just like Charlie Murphy and Eddie Murphy helped out Rick James. They gave him some help. Cut right through it. Give it about 2 little slices right down. So I'll show you one more time. Here's your onion. Cut right into it, and then cut right into it again. And they might have all those different layers, but you got to give it some help when you're going to be cutting it. So I like to just cut down. And we're going to be doing kind of like a small dice here. So just go back over it again. And there you go. You have like some small dice onion you can fuck around with. Throw that in the soup. Make a sauce with it. I'll just put that right off to the side. So now that I've given it 1, 2 slices, we're going to julienne this onion. So I have the grain going towards me. I don't want to go against the grain. you can, but to get a really nice uniform shape, just take your knife and go right back over your onion. Sometimes you don't even need to make these little slices. And that's how you would make something like caramelized onions or griddled onions. You were going to make something like a vegan hot dog or a vegetarian hot dog or a regular hot dog for that. I'm an omnivore, so I'll eat anything. I'll probably die of a heart attack very young, sadly. But after Jack. Sweet Jack has been sleeping all day. The doctors say he's gained some weight, so I need to stop feeding him. he Jack can't help it. He lives with me, and I cook everything, and I eat everything, and I look at him and I go, okay, I'll give you something, or I have, like, for instance, this pepperoni. And I'll just be like, Jack, you want a treat? And he'll come running in the kitchen. Don't know where he is right now, but I just see him, and I'm like, I gotta give you some food. I can't help it. Because I love him. So we're going to teach you guys how to sear off some tofu. So I'm just going to push all this stuff off to the front. Probably like, what is this giant pile doing on this guy's cutting board? So with tofu, you really want to make sure that you pat them dry. So this is extra firm tofu. Firm tofu. And I like to take some paper towels. And the reason why you dry it off is because you don't want to have any water hit your oil. And I like to do is just kind of just cut it right in half. So this will be your skin side of it. So we're going to sear that. So that's the side that was touching the mold. So what I like to do is get back my plates. And usually you can do it on your cutting board, but it's really important not to make a mess when you, especially if you're trying to impress somebody. The point being, don't make a mess. I have some salt, so I'm just going to season the skin side of the tofu. And don't be afraid to hit it a little hard. Take some vegetable oil, cover my pan. This camera around. How's that, guys? Soaking tofu is great. You can actually make like vegan mayo out of tofu. You can do anything with tofu, really. I think it's a really underrated protein. It's great in things like banh mi's. So right now we're just getting that oil hot. So you know your oil is hot if it's kind of just like slurring around. Don't do that too much because if there's like water in your pan, it could touch the water, go right up in your eye, your face, and it'll fuck you up forever. I've been meaning to tell you guys that my makeup was inspired by Danny DeVito's character on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm just throwing that out there in case anybody asks. National treasure. So skin side, put that right down in there. Make sure your pan is hot because you don't want to have this stick to your pan. If it's cold, the oil's going to be cold. It's gonna glue to your pan like a magnet. What's that, guys? Better. Salt and vegetable oil, exactly. You don't. I'm using vegetable oil versus olive oil this time, cost reasons, and also it gets a higher smoke point. So you can see the smoke coming off of this. That is what is making it cook and sear. Vegetable oil or peanut oil or grapeseed oil are really good oils to fry with. Uh, Super light extra virgin olive oil I will use. I've used before on this cooking show, but it's not that great if you want to get really good color on things. No, I don't. Take my tongs, reach into the oil and burn my hand. And it will just give it a nice sear. Like you could pretend that it's a tuna loin if you're starting a plant-based diet. I purposefully love seafood, so I'm not giving that up. Olive oil is great for the taste. It's great to finish things off with, especially super extra virgin olive oil. The reason why is if you cook with extra virgin olive oil, you can definitely burn the oil. And when that happens, everything tastes bitter. And it tastes like burnt bitter. Like if you were to burn bitters, like an Angostura bitters, it would taste like that. Just disgusting. Keep moving them around in there. Now, since it's been in oil, we're going to want to dry them off after they're done. So this happens to be my ghetto fish spatula. I've had this for like, I don't know, 13 years, something like that. It's just sentimental. I have a real fish spatula that I've used professionally, but I use this at home because why not? You take your fish spat, go right underneath. We'll turn, just sort of Put them on some paper towels. That's how you sear something. Take off your hand. Also, use a towel when you touch things so you don't burn your hands off. Fortunately, the induction only gets this part of it hot, so don't have to worry about that. We'll put it behind me though. Hopefully that annoying fan doesn't go off. Jack and I do not like that. So as you can see, skin side seared, and that's the correct way to sear protein. So you don't have like a terrible, terrible meal. One of the other things that I like to make is salsa verde. So I'm going to take a minute to set up my other thing that I have. So much stuff. Put that off to the side. I'm my own personal assistant in here, so bear with me. COVID times. So this happens to be, as you guys can see, a processor. So it comes with a blade, and the blade fits right in. This is not a blender that you would make a cocktail and watch TST 3K, which I'm sure a lot of you like to do because that's a really fun time. If I drink, I would do that. So this one gets set up really interesting. You have to lock it into place and turn it on. Super old school. I've had this for years. Damn straight. Just put our tofu aside. And I like to make kind of like a cross between a Spanish and Italian salsa verde, which really just means green sauce. Tomatillo salsa verde would be like grilled tomatillos made with like different spices, mezcal, and that would be how you make a salsa. So a Mexican salsa, but this is more like a Spanish or an Italian version. You can call it a chimichurri, but chimichurri is really lime base. So I got these basil leaves from Gotham Greens. They come completely clean because when you get basil, it's got tons of sand on it, and that sucks. So you don't have to clean these at all, which I love. So I like to put some basil in my stuff. There we go. I like to add a little bit of mint to mine too. That much. I've made salsa verde before different ways, sometimes with bread so it thickens up, which is a very, very traditional kind of Spanish one. I did that when I worked at a restaurant in the North End part of Boston. We would make an octopus dish with uh, potato foam. This is 13 years ago. We had salsa verde on the plate. It was actually really, really good. Also, don't mind me, I have like some kind of allergies going on here. So this is parsley, and like I was talking about before, like take your parsley, how much you want for something like this. It's going to use about that much. This is only going to be, and you guys can see my hands. So I like to bunch it up and just cut right through it. And I'll save that, pick that later. Take your, this is where it's okay to do the chop thing. So I'm just going right down, doing the chop right through. So we got basil, mint, parsley, and cilantro. So cilantro, obviously, you can cook this whole thing. You can eat the stems. The stems, if you get them with the root on them, traditionally in Thailand, you can make soups out of them, and they're got so much flavor. Never throw them out. I can just take a knife, go right over it. Try not to get the little metal thing they got here. So my herbs, I'm just going to put it back into here. Can taste like soap if you eat it raw, but I love cilantro. Oh look what life gave us. Some mints. Get it? That's a really bad dad joke. To get the juice out of the lemons without squeezing them too crazy, take them, cut around the seeds. These happen to have barely any seeds in them, which is really cool. You know, I can see right through them. Cut the pulps out. Won't save you from being in pain if you have a paper cut. Sorry about that, guys. I keep meaning to turn the camera around. So I'm just going around just to be safe and cutting the middles out, kind of flattening them out. What are those dipshits saying? Flattening the curve? We'll take our camera and just move it around. And I'm going to take my lemons and just squeeze them like that. It's a really good life hack to get all that juice out. It takes less time, especially if you have bad wrists and you can't squeeze them or you don't have a machine to do it at home. This just helps break down the time, and it kind of feels fun to squish something in your hand. I'm just covering this with some citrus. One of the other things that you can do with your leftover lemons is take some salt, take some sugar, mix it together with some spices, put it into a tight container, put it in your fridge, let it sit in there for about 4 weeks, and they'll be completely cured. And then you can take pieces off and chop them, which I like to do actually when I do something like this. I like to put a little bit of preserved lemon in it. You can actually buy preserved lemons. A lot of Middle Eastern stores sell them. Or you can go to a specialty store and get a small jar for about $50. Or Whole Foods. I hate Whole Foods. Fuck Whole Foods. I could do the Bananas Foster thing where I light the Bible off of it. We could get to that very soon. So before we start, set a little Bible fire. Give it a little bit of smoke. I'm going to take some of my herbs I had from earlier. This is my onions, scallions, some mint. Just put them all in there. Traditionally, I would mix my salsa verde up with something like a shallot. You don't have to put all that onion in there, but enough so it gives it some texture. And we can check and see how our garlic confit is. It's cool enough. It's a little warm, which means that it might cook the herbs. But if we cool them down fast enough, they'll stay green for about a week. When you cook herbs, any kind of oil or anything, they can turn black, so we want to be careful. So I'm going to take just about that much garlic confit and put it in there. Just a dash of the garlic confit oil. Always cook herbs. Give that a nice pulse. Let the citrus blend it all together. Shut it off. Check it. You should have something like that. I'm going to turn a little bit of light on so you can see it. Bring that closer down. How's that, guys? So you can see the onion, the texture of the onion, and the herbs, and that's how I like to make sure that my salsa verde base is ready. And either I'll use vegetable oil or olive oil, depending on the situation. Just going to turn back on my blender. Just give it like a little bit of oil, because it's like you're making a vinaigrette with a bunch of herbs, technically. And it becomes kind of soupy. You know it's done and it's ready. And you can add this to things like seafood or a salad. And we're going to do stuff like that for the next couple of days. And that's really how you make an herb-based sauce. So I've taught you a lot of things today, from making garlic confit to herb-based sauces to lighting Bibles to cutting up lemons and showing you a life hack. Do you guys want me to show you that again, or do you remember? Let me show you one more time. Take your lemon, cut it in half. Take out the middle, and that's a good way to squeeze it. That's just how I do things. Tomorrow we have a special presentation, but I'll see you guys on Saturday. Let's give a Hail Satan goodbye. Now, you changed my life by showing up. Hail Satan, guys. Please go to my links right here. Donate if you can. Go find a woman's shelter and please donate to them too. I would really appreciate that. Hail Satan, guys. I love you.